Well, I think that we have a good conversation here, Jason.
All right.
Recently, Pete Hegseth took some flack from them, whoever them is, about his stance on the new grooming and physical fitness standards across the services, not just the Army, not just the Air Force, not just the Marines, all of them. He wants to tighten it up. He wants to know why body composition standards have raised since 2015. He wants to know why all of these things the requirements have been loosened so much when our enemies are not getting weaker and our job as a whole, not ours, but the military's job as a whole, is not becoming any easier.
Okay.
But yet it seems as if we're allowing soldiers to join who are not quite capable. And so they talked about a few different things. They talk about weight, body fat percentage. They talk about this shaving profile and the ability to grow beards. And service members are complaining about missing out on jobs and promotions, and they're being passed over for things because they have beards. I guess I don't know about all that, but I do know that if our soldiers are not up to snuff, not physically fit enough, and our readiness is down, we're vulnerable.
Okay.
So
apparently I turned my phone back on, so I'm just going to apologize right now.
That's okay. What's your take? Do you think that we should go back to a more strict standard? I think I know where you stand on this, but I got to ask you the question. I wouldn't be a good investigative reporter if I didn't ask the question.
Well, how would we not want to go back to a standard? Obviously, it's been leaked down for some reason, and I'm sure it was because of retention issues.
Yeah.
I mean, you say it went all the way back to 15.
Yeah.
You know, I mean, when did we start wearing pajamas? Oh, when did the military start wearing pajamas?
Well, your definition of pajamas was started in, well, I'll tell you, because it was when we were deploying the first time. So 05, 06.
So we already started dropping then.
I don't know, man. Those uniforms were pretty comfortable.
Exactly. Comfortable.
I wore BDUs also.
Mm-hmm.
And mine were, hey, razors. Start.
And you looked like something.
Mirrored boots.
Then you started putting on your pajamas.
Yeah.
And your little go fast boots.
Yeah. With my
Converse.
Velcro. With my Velcro.
We're even closer to the movie Idiocracy than I even thought we were this early. I don't like when those things change. I mean, I think, you know, even the standards that you and I performed under were probably, I mean, I don't think they were terribly high.
Mm-hmm.
You know, I think a lot of people from the outside looking in, they hear about physical fitness standards and they think that it's a pinnacle, and it's really not. It's just enough to get you by where if you were needed in a situation to be able to perform your job, you were capable. Right. So somebody passing the PT test did not turn them into fucking Hercules when they got out of a drill or when they got out of the military. If they were meeting the standards, congratulations, you could do a few sit-ups, you could do some push-ups, and you could run 2 miles in a period of time. That's it. And I know that standard got worse and worse, or I think it was lessened by the time I got out. And I'm not certain if that was ever a good thing, because there were certainly people that I deployed with from a physical fitness standpoint. I didn't understand why they and I were in the same lines getting fat taped.
Yeah.
You know, I just so happened to carry a lot of weight on my body, and then the overall size of my frame makes me heavy. No question about it. Yeah, I mean, I think I was authorized 210 pounds. I think when I got home from my first deployment, I weighed 200. It was ridiculous.
You probably didn't look healthy at 212 pounds.
Emaciated. I was going to make a reference to a particular event in the middle of last century, but I'm not going to do so. But we all had a very gaunt look. We had all lost a lot of weight. But even then, after that many months, without eating regular food, without living a regular life, I still couldn't achieve what was the perceived maximum, which was never a problem, because I could tape my way through it. But as the years went on and we became more rotund.
Good word.
I like that.
Husky, maybe?
Man, the fat tape line was like half of us.
Yeah.
And it always irritated the shit out of me that I'd wear the uniform that I wore and it looked the way that it did. And I was in the same line with somebody that looked like, a roll of Pillsbury rolls ready to explode on a Saturday morning pan.
Yeah. Well, I find it interesting because I was always in that line too. And I skated the edge. I failed a lot of tapes, passed a few. And for anybody watching this that served with me, everyone knows it was never a secret that I was in the monthly tape line for a long time. Like the guys that failed the month before.
That was your regular jam Saturday morning.
Yeah, and then you had Sunday morning was the remedial PT and the nutrition class with the whoever in the unit was the guy that was doing all the protein shakes and shit all the time, which was all right, man. I mean, they were trying to. What I appreciated was that there was at least somebody in the unit that cared enough to provide some kind of assistance to anybody that really was trying to take it serious to preserve their time in the service.
Right. Which was not the vast majority. Let's be very clear about that, because there were also dudes that I know I served with, that were absolutely circular. But you know what? If I needed something heavy loaded up, he's the first dude I called to help me.
Yeah.
100%. Now that person, to me, deserves a carve out. The guy that can actually throw around artillery when needed versus the PT stud who can run really fast for long distances. I mean, there's your carve out. But then the exemptions became the standard.
Yeah.
And so the standard drops.
And that's where I think I fell. Personally, I think I was maybe one of those people who was like, all right, well, maybe Leonard's not a PT stud. He's a little too chubby. But I was proficient at my job, at my skill set. At least I thought I was. I brought value to the team, to the unit, to the platoon. And then after a while, and then especially after deployment, you bring knowledge and you bring experience to the young guys.
Mm-hmm.
Sometimes not the knowledge that the unit wanted me to share with the young guys, maybe, but knowledge nonetheless. So I don't know. I think that some people respected that about the way that I conducted myself in the military. And I'm sure there was quite a handful of people that thought I was the biggest piece of shit ever to put on a uniform. And if that's the truth, then whatever. I don't care.
I had a big line of those folks.
I got my letters thanking me for my service too, just like they did as well.
Right. Well, and I think the physical standard goes beyond the things that we're talking about.
Mm-hmm.
Because it's being able to get in and out of vehicles, being able to wear body armor successfully, something that'll actually protect you when needed.
Yeah.
And so there's other mechanical components or aspects to the physical fitness standard and appearances that make sense. And that's where I think that appearance piece, not that wearing a pro mask is one of those things that everybody has to worry about every day. But when we first moved in, it was something that we absolutely did. We went through MOP training. We had all these pieces. I remember the first time that somebody in our unit hit themselves with their atropine. Did you ever have any of those? Oh, man. Like somebody was clanging on some drums. We were up outside of Balad, and I already had known that somebody was trying to wrench on something. And so this wasn't a metal on metal, gas situation. It was just somebody beating on some metal drums. And a couple of people heard the metal drums, did not understand the situation, and they were donning their gear.
Oh, no.
Right?
Oh, no.
So like 5 people go flying by the other way, and I'm looking at G and Chach, and we're kind of laughing, And then all of a sudden, one goes back the other way, and then went back again. I'm like, what in the fuck is going on? And this guy real calmly walks his way after this person again, because we didn't know who it was. You got a pro mask on, and you're flying. He looks over and he's like, we got a medic here. They reached in and they had their atropine the wrong way and they jammed one in their hand. Needless to say, it was a pretty funny event, but that was serious. There were issues and there were concerning things in that country at that time.
Yeah.
With information that we didn't have a complete data set on, where we were going to have those pro masks on. I remember fucking with new guys coming into the country, like throwing the old bellhopper at them on the top of that Humvee just to watch them freak the fuck out. You can see those nice, clean new Humvees rolling in, like, oh man, welcome to the suck.
Yeah.
About to ruin your first afternoon, man.
Put it on, bitches. Holy cow. And that, I'll tell you what, man, it's an eye opener. I remember because when we came over was shortly after you, but we had the new stuff, the new mop gear.
Okay.
And in training, they're like, you got to put it on. It was like 3 minutes or 2 minutes or something. Impossible.
Impossible.
Well, I don't know, man. And people were like in their wrists falling over trying to put it on and get all tangled up in it and stuff.
What?
And then the shit's hot.
Oh, that shit is terrible. Because that was that charcoal line stuff in the vacuum bags. Yeah. No, I mean, we got to see a lot of that shit. Like our stuff was like a hefty bag,
had already been used in Vietnam or something.
Yeah. If you got a little Vaseline, just rub that on the exposed skin sections of your body and everything should work out just fine. Unfortunately, we never had to put that on for any reason other than, potential issues that may arise. But it is something that I think is probably kind of important. And so a shaving profile to me, as a guy that enjoys wearing a beard, I like a beard, but if I were wearing the uniform again, I understand the reasoning behind the fact that I need to be able to do it. And I understand that it affects a certain population with a greater percentage than any other. And that's not it starts running down that line where I think people are fearful to say it. And is gas something that we really need to worry about anymore?
I think so. Maybe it's not even just gas, but I mean, all these things that, of course you can go down the conspiracy fucking road and all kinds of stuff, the chemtrails and the heavy fog and the this and the that and the other thing. Who knows what's out there and who knows what could potentially be used. But yes, I think gas, mustard gas, all those things.
I would certainly, if I were on the block to go forward and there was something going on, I mean, there's nothing greater in a shithole country than being able to use rudimentary weaponry against a sophisticated military.
Yeah.
Right.
Well, and understand, right? I mean, like we have conversations all the time about we're a grassroots organization, right? You got to use what you got, right? We don't got hundreds of millions of dollars sitting in the bank. Well, neither do these small countries that we just may or may not be going to. But if they got old Iranian mustard gas bombs and SARS or whatever the hell it is, and they're mixing Tide with bleach. And
I was going to say ammonia
gasoline
and bleach.
Yeah.
They're dialed in right there.
Yeah, man. Fertilizer and Vaseline. Who knows what the hell you can mix.
And I remember that as a 15-year-old kid. And I know Andrew isn't going to hear this, but maybe this gets picked out. Andrew and I had, Andrew was not a military buddy, but a great friend of mine growing up. And we had a third friend who was always on the edge of reality.
Oh, yeah. We
all had that buddy, right? That guy. And this was Johnny Chronic. And Johnny Chronic threw down, and he didn't want to work the rest of the afternoon. Wanted the day off. Okay. It was a simple request. Of course, he wasn't going to get it.
Yeah.
Well, he decided he was mopping a space where the population from the area would come to congregate and purchase items. So at least I'm not saying what it is, but it was a place where people would come. And he went and mixed himself up a little bleach and ammonia and ran that shit around with a mop as fast as he could until the point where he went down just to make sure that that place was uninhabitable. Now, that probably cost about $5 to create that, but he shut down that entire building. We got our afternoon off. I mean, he won. Now, this is a 15-year-old dolt that pulled this off. You don't think that they can? This comes up? Like, profile be damned. It sucks, and I hope it seals, but that's a very, very inexpensive way. And I'm sure there's many others, and hopefully nobody ever goes out and looks for them. But yeah, the shit does happen.
Well, and you can see it. I mean, the power, the magic of the internet. Go out and look what happens when you're exposed to these chemicals and these gases. If you are a soldier or a warrior and you're out fighting in combat, the last way that you want to die, in my opinion, is by some kind of chemical or biological agent. Holy shit.
Yeah, no way. Give me 7 bullets.
Yeah, absolutely.
Nope.
So I agree. Shave your face. Use extra lotion. You know, I mean, I don't know, but it certainly isn't a discrimination thing.
No, and that's the line that, you know,
you're not taking away your shaving profile because you're black or you're Muslim or you're Latino or you're a white guy with shaving bumps. It's preposterous.
Right. And that's the argument all the time. And I think that's why the slippery slope has brought us to the place that we are today, is because there's always a reason not to. And I think we need to challenge ourselves to find the reason why we should hold standards, and we should hold them with some rigidity.
Yeah. And
because they're a standard.
It's becoming a little bit more normal, which drives me nuts sometimes, that we have these conversations about things that really probably shouldn't even be a conversation. Like, why are we having conversations about making sure that our soldiers are physically fit and they represent us, the American people, in a professional manner? Why would anybody want the American soldier to be anywhere abroad and represent America and look like a slob or look less professional?
Right.
Why would anybody want that, including the bureaucrats that are claiming that we're strong and professional? The ones that'll give somebody shit for not wearing a suit. But yeah, we're cool with sloppy looking soldiers.
Right.
Come on, man.
No, and half of the shit, it's, you know, my wife has this great coffee cup. Thanks again for another meeting that could have been an email.
Yeah.
Right. Like this could have been this should have been just a quick jot down. Hey, by the way, we're enforcing standards on weight and composition percentage and work a way through a shaving profile, period.
Yeah.
Done. But they picked it up and it becomes an issue.
Yeah. We look fat and rugged and unprofessional. We're going to fix it. That's it.
Right. Could you imagine if you turned on your TV? Now, let's just say North Korea or China were doing one of their show of force exercises where they parade their dudes and their ICBMs down Main Street. Like, we've all seen those videos, right?
Yeah.
I'm not losing my mind.
No, we've seen it.
You know, and obviously they're using the best of their best, but it seems to me like somehow over the past few years, we would have done it the other way. And like, we could have had a big parade with like all those guys and gals.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah. We got Benny Hill leading the way. Like, what
Just
the
a bunch
hell?
of broken equipment being drug around by recovery vehicles. I mean, that's I mean, there's a certain professional persona, even if you're one that can't meet those criteria. Like, you're not super jazzed about it either. You know, and you understand it, like you were talking about, it's something you want to work towards to get there, because it's only a standard. It is a minimal effort that you need to put forward to get to this place. We're not talking about something where you're shooting the moon for every one of these people. And I think that PT test we're taking this summer is going to prove that.
Oh boy.
That you and I are beyond our prime.
Are we really doing this?
Oh, we're doing it.
Listen, folks, I want to let you guys know something. I don't know if we're going to record the video, but we're certainly going to record the audio.
We are.
And it's going to be a lot of heavy breathing and maybe even a little like snot blowing.
There's going to be vomit.
You're planning on puking?
I'm going all out just to be, I'm going to smoke you.
Yes, you are.
Yeah. Beyond smoke. I'm going all the way. Everything I got.
Are you running 2 miles?
I'm going to try. But I'm not gonna do anything to get ready for it. I'm going as I am.
Oh my God. Well, okay, so I know that there'll be medics there, but is there going to be an ambulance?
We're only like 10 minutes from a decent town. Good hospitals.
Well, if nothing else, it'll make for good content.
Oh, it's going to be fantastic.
It may be the start to our 2-week break of recording content, but our fall break or whenever.
We'll be back at the VA receiving treatment for the next decade. I ran a PT test when I was 45 plus years old.
Yeah, and all the doctors are going to go, what the hell were you two thinking?
Right. Well, and now it's kind of funny now that we're saying that because and of course, we're all guilty of this. Well, all of us who have lived a life are guilty of it. You don't think about yourself as the age that you are.
Yeah, you're right.
Right. And so I still, back in my mind, I'm still 18 and I know I get hurt now more and more, but I'm trying to think about the people that I knew when I was in that were my age right now. These were not PT studs. These were PT duds. They typically had a healthy dosing of
alcohol.
Pencil whip in that test.
Oh, you think? All of them?
Not all of them. But a healthy percentage. It was up, down, 7, 9. I'm counting by 2s, counting by 3s, just to get to the minimum. Oh, yeah. And so that's where maybe that's what we get is like a 3 factor for everything that we do.
So wait a minute. Are you saying that we go into this expecting to cheat already?
Oh, I'm going to cheat my ass off. If you're not looking, I guarantee my numbers are going to be better than the reality of the day.
Okay, well, in that case, I don't know if you're going to win.
I don't know.
know.
I'll be watching you like a hawk.
I grew up with my mother, and I'm a master cheater at things because she cheats at everything.
But see, I count poorly.
And my wife, too. My wife does not like to lose. And so sometimes the rules change in the middle of said game or competition or whatever. And like if she sees this, she's going to probably cuff me in the back of the head. But babe, it's true. You know it is. Rules change. So if that's the case, all right, game on, son.
There it is.
We're not even going to break a sweat. And we're going to have one hell of a competition.
Both going to be 120% performers.
Yeah, and our coffee won't even get cold.
Would have worked 1 iota of rubber off the bottom of those boots.
Yeah. All right. Done deal.
Yeah, I'm in.
What else are we doing that day? Anything else fun? I mean, we're going to go suffer. We might as well do something fun.
What sounds like we're going to get the chance, this particular unit is getting equipped with their new Abrams a month or 2 beforehand.
Mm-hmm.
And so once everything, at that point in time, then everything should be readied. And there is a likelihood we'll get to go down range with them and send a couple of rounds out of the main gun.
We get to shoot a tank? Maybe?
I don't know. Shooting a tank sounds like you're shooting a tank, but
well, no, fire a tank.
Sounds like we'll be able to fire the main gun
of an Abrams tank.
Never have I ever.
Me neither.
No, and they should have the full Bradleys.
I was a Bradley gunner. I think
they're going to have those. Those should be on the firing line as well, so we can get behind the old Browning. And
not going to lie, got a little tingle going on.
I'm telling you, it's going to be fun. We've got some fun stuff for the summer that we get to do.
Awesome.
Hopefully we don't piss too many people off with the other things that we talk about where they don't want us there. But I hope they know that this is all reality based. So if you don't, we'll talk about you then.
Tell the truth and you got nothing to worry about.
It's a lot easier.
Well, hey, on that news, we better go take care of the tingle. We're shooting tanks. We're puking at PT tests. Stay tuned for Disgruntled. If nothing else, it'll be entertaining. Our misery will be your entertainment, I guess. So
100%.
Come on back and check it out. Thanks a lot.